Hey guys, welcome all of you to Monty's News Brief. Hey, so happy to see you again this morning. Hope you had a really nice evening, and I hope you're having enjoying this beautiful Saturday. It's awesome here. It rained a little bit this morning, but the sun's come out and it's very nice. Hey, I just wanted to give a shout out today to all my friends. For those of you who may have watched me play a little music last night, I had a little chat. And I talked to a few people. It was a lot of fun, and just played some of the songs that have always been an encouragement to me, and just have a little fun. It was, you know. And hey, gonna be hanging out again tonight. And tonight, I hope I can get Melody to back me up on the bass. She's gonna play a little bit of music. And hope you stop by, probably around 8 again tonight, maybe a little earlier, and I'll jam a little longer. Hey, if you got any requests, you can always give in a request and say whatever you'd like to hear. And I just want to say thanks so much, and also for your encouraging thoughts. I just wanted to start speaking out a lot more and just spend more time with people who know me. And, well, you know, we are locked in. And you always wonder how people are doing, and God, you just want to kind of speak out and touch base with friends and loved ones. And this is my way, my little small way of doing it. This morning, as always, I always have a little devotion in the morning and prayer and with Melody, and we just see what we're going to do for the day. And also, we always like to check afterwards. We always like to check out the news to see if we're on good ground. Things change so fast. It's just like an earthquake worldwide right now. And so we were watching the news, and what did pop up quite a bit was a march, the March on Washington for Racial Justice and Police Freedom. And it was quite interesting. It was I watched the whole thing. I thought, well, I don't know, maybe I'll just brief it. But you know, it's if you're going to comment about something, it's good to know exactly what everything is said and what everybody is bringing out. And they had many speakers there. I watched about 20. Let me see. I watched all of them actually. I watched about 20, almost 33 speakers, and they were awesome. And it was very enlightening, very inspiring, many of them. And I must say, I am so glad that many Black Americans, white Americans, and Native Americans are speaking out on this issue, which is very relevant to our time, and it's happened so much. I will say some of it's justified. I'm not going to just tell a lie, okay? Some of the police behavior has been justifiable. Some of the things like George Floyd, okay, and Jacob was inexcusable. I don't believe they had to shoot the guy 7 times. You know, I mean, maybe shoot him in the leg or something, or back up from the car. It's just since he wasn't going to bother the kids inside. But I think sometimes, and many times, some of these things are excessive, and I'm going to speak out about it. I'm not going to be timid about it, because I mean, being a Black American citizen, I've faced these things myself. You know, what are they going to do? You know, when they stop me or something. But I haven't had too many severe confrontations with the police. Just little things here and there, and some things are pretty heavy. And I've experienced that worldwide. You know, and living in Europe, I've had come in contact with some police in some countries like Germany. It's really intense. And France, but not a lot really. But they were pretty laid back, and I was able to talk with people in a reasonable manner, and things just went pretty well. I never got wounded or shot or anything like that. Some things have gotten hot and heavy, but through common sense and just rationality, the good prevailed each time. And I do feel that a lot of times many Black Americans suffer unnecessarily because of pride. of getting excited and getting mad and wanting to be confrontational and wanting to fight police. I'm not going to say I'm self-righteous. I'm not going to be righteous about that anywhere, in any fashion, shape, or form. Sometimes they're like, yeah, and I did get a little rough, tough with talking to some police because sometimes they were unreasonable, but never, ever, ever have anyone ever pull out a gun and blow my brains out or shoot me. But anyway, I just wanted to say, just comment on this march and also comment on the news. You just can't escape it. Every news agency in Europe, looking at South American news, been looking at the African news. Like I said before, always try to check out various forms of news, mainstream media news and not mainstream news, because otherwise you're not going to have a real clear picture of what's really going on. So I always try to get a wide view. But anyway, I'd like to bring up these points this morning. I watched every single speaker because I wanted to be sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that what I would like to say about this issue is clear and well seen and well thought through and just real, and no speculation whatsoever. I was actually there with them, with the internet, and just watched them speak. And I was very happy with a lot of the black leaders speaking out on social justices in our country and injustices, you might say. And I did enjoy seeing Martin Luther King Jr. And Al Sharpton, who is a civil rights advocate. And they pulled this thing together, and it was done quite well, and it was seemed very peaceful, and many people were able to speak, which I enjoyed the fact that it was peaceful and not tearing things up and burning things and people, with guns and all that stuff, And I'm sure you've seen the violence in America over this last few months, and it's just been ridiculous, I would say. And I followed a lot of it, and I agreed with a lot of it. I mean, they brought out a lot of good points, and some of the things were well warranted that were said. But there's, due to the fact that I am a firm believer in Christ, and I just believe in God. It has nothing to do with any particular denomination or church. I've always read the Bible, and I grew up in the AME church, from a little baby. My mom was bringing me to church. And so I knew God for many years, and then later on I became a missionary and did further studies in the Bible and tried to help young people around the world. Literally, when I say that, I literally did, and families and feeding the homeless and helping out with many youth works. And as I got older, pastored some churches and just did a lot of things that just doing what I could for the cause of Christ. But one thing I really, really want to bring this out, and I really sincerely mean this. I'm not just trying to take any sides, because like I said, I listened to the convention of both the DNC and the RNC, and I wanted to hear what they had to say. And regardless of me being a black person, the truth is the truth. A lot of the things that the DNC is standing for, I am not. And I'll clearly state that. I am not for abortion. I'm not for Marxism or a communist state being established in America. I don't have any qualms against communism. It's just a lot of the cases I've seen, and I'm almost 70. I'm headed very closely, getting close to 70 now, and living in communist countries, socialist countries, and communist countries, spending a little time in some of these countries, I've seen the life's pretty tough, and a lot of people, it just didn't work the way a lot of people thought it would, and changing it to that form of government didn't produce what they wanted. So anyway, I am witnessing the change, a great change in America right now, and being a black American, and they're using my people's issues to promote their political agendas. I'm not at all happy about it. I really not. And the fact that Black Lives Matter, it's a spearhead, I mean, the real spearhead of a lot of speaking points uh, against police brutality right now, and they're using inequality, economic equality of blacks in America, and using all these points to promote their agendas. I'm really upset about it. I don't feel that good about it, and I do feel that in a big way that Black Americans are being deceived by this movement. And unless Black Americans really want to be a socialist, communist country, I mean, what can I say? Only 6 miles away from where I'm sitting right now, I'm living near a country that I am very surprised. I've seen some of the principles applied in that country, such as Venezuela. I used to live there with my wife, and now, people are fleeing there, coming here to Aruba in boats and trying to get out of there. And when you talk to the people, it's just really amazing. Now, I personally witnessed this country going from a very prosperous, economically stable, really advanced country where my wife and I had seriously considered living there, or immigrating there over 40 years ago. And now, when I come now, I see how things are, and I actually live around many Venezuelans who are here now for economical reasons, spiritual reasons, a lot of things. I'm just really surprised. I'm like, wow. And I have a lot of interaction with Venezuelans and people who work there. And it really surprises me. So I'm sitting here in the epitome of this change in a very progressive, economically stable country, living 5-6 miles from the coast of Venezuela here in Aruba. And I'm like, I can't believe it. It's like day and night. So I'm watching my country, my home country, United States, seriously considering that form of government and using Black Americans as a springboard. And it just breaks my heart. So I'm not in agreement. Also, too, after listening to all the speakers speak, I listened to people from the BLGT, LGBT community speak, and many of the other work organizations, the IOL, AOL, CIO, and all these other unions speak. And they were saying things that are really true. People do live pretty poorly. Okay, it's kind of freaky for me because I see people who are really poor. I mean, really poor, coming here, and there's no food or no gas in the country that was abundantly. It is one of the biggest oil reserves. It has the biggest oil reserves in the world, and I'm just like, whoa. How could that be possible? My wife and I, we talk every day. Like, how could that be possible? That they've gone from a very progressive, affluent economy and society to unified poverty. So I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't calculate. So anyway, just to stick to the point of the Washington racial justice and police, and also, getting everybody's like, this program and this legislation they want to pass to get it all equalized in America and rights and stuff. I've never seen legislation solve a lot of people's problems as a fact. I think it's the 57th anniversary of the Martin Luther King's speech that was done in Washington, and here we are again in the 21st century. Actually recovering the same ground. Very different, though. A very different climate and just different. It's not the same. People have lost faith in God there, and they're rejecting God. And the other point was bringing up all these religious leaders to speak. And my own bishop, which was before the AME church, is coming out and speaking out in favor of Black Lives Matter. And it's like, guys, I'm just going to say this, and I think I'm pretty much covered it from A to Z. Black Lives Matter is a Marxist front. And it's, along with Marxism and Leninism and all this, communist viewpoints, is a totally anti-God, Jesus Christ agenda. And I, as a Christian, as a part of my life, which is a big part of my life, and I think many of you, how can I be a Christian and really support this? I do support racial justice, but I don't believe the way to go is through atheistic beliefs and a Marxist agenda. And it's just evident. It's right in their manifesto. You can go to the website, and they're promoting Marxism. Now, I'm going to read you some scriptures, and then I listened to some of the other people who've actually hijacked our grievances and our sufferings to promote their causes, such as the LGBT community. Growing up as a young man, it was not looked on very well as being gay in our communities when I was a kid. Of course, we've changed, and the people are changing and being changed, and I think they're being washed away by many of the things that are not of God. I have no grievances with gay people or with the gay agenda. I have 10 children, and they all have varying degrees of belief or disbelief in God, or they have things that they like to accomplish in life, and that's their right. I don't rail on them about it or try to freak out. I've done that before, and it just blows up in my face. So I just think people that should do what they have the faith for and what they believe is right for them. So that's their agenda. And your sexual preferences and how you like to live, that's really your right before God. Because at the end of the day, each of us will give an account to God of what we did in this life. There is a God, and there is this going on. Also, I just saw these passages this morning, and I do believe this is an antidote for America and for the world. And this is in the book of Psalms. We were reading this morning in devotion, and these verses just jumped out to me, and I want to share them with you right now. And this is in Psalms 144. And it says here in verse 18, "The Lord is nigh unto all them that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth," it says, in truth. "He will fulfill the desires of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry and will save them," which I believe happened to us as slaves during the era of slaves in the 1700s and 1800s. You know what I mean? I believe that God Almighty delivered us from slavery. Not necessarily sought after by the government. It was a little thrown in thing there later on, but God did it. It wasn't necessarily some legislation, which was good, okay. But if it hadn't been for him deciding, okay, it's time for them to have their freedom and move on with the plan of life, then he just opened the doors, But, and then I love the part where Martin Luther King Jr. brought out this verse. He even said it, and I was in that this morning. I was really surprised when I watched the news. It says, he said, "Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he." What law? Not the laws of man, but the laws of God. And I believe that as we obey God's word and obey his laws, he will supply, bless us, and keep us. So it went on to say, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." And it goes on to say, "An unjust man is an abomination to the just." Boy, if you try to be a righteous man, you kind of you kind of hate somebody who's not trying to be good, right? "And he that is upright in his way is abomination to the wicked." Dang, that's what's happening right now in America. People who are trying to do right and trying to do the right thing, they're being considered abominable to them. So in view of the fact these things are happening. And they have, as a whole, many of our government officials and people have just lost their way and turned away from God. So I believe God is withdrawing his blessing in our country. I'm just amazed at all the storms. I mean, global warming, great. Okay, you can say it's global warming, that we're having all these problems, natural disasters in America and around the world, but I do believe it's because of God withdrawing his blessing and all this evil that's coming onto the earth. So like I said, you can look from a atheistic, I wouldn't say science, but an atheistic viewpoint, and from a biblical viewpoint, they're all kind of conjoining together because, look, let's be honest, above all these things is God, and he is the sovereign creator of the universe and mankind, and we've lost our way. So when I see that, I will state clearly, just for the record, to say, hey, what happened to your grandfather and what did he believe during the great revolution in America in the 20th century? And they can clearly say that I stood for God. I stood for justice, true justice, the justice of God. And I do not agree at all with these people who have hijacked my people's grievances for their causes, which I believe are totally anti-God, anti-Christ. And I believe that God has withdrawn his blessing from our country and soon to withdraw from the whole world as the world turns more and more to an anti-Christ, anti-God mentality. So some of the speeches are really good. You might want to check out the whole thing. I think you can find it online. But that's my take on the things for today, the news. And I do believe it is an injustice to shoot a man 7 times in the back. I believe there's other ways to solve that problem. But I do not believe it is a witch hunt or a hunt for all black men. And I'm going to say it again. Almost every single one, except this Breonna Taylor person or this other young man who got shot, a kid, they were doing things that were wrong. They really were. And you can't get around it. So you have to look at it from both viewpoints. These people were doing things wrong, and I do not condone their evil deeds they were doing. And when they got shot by the police or hurt by the police and something like that, it seemed like it just was like an open door for something bad to happen to them because they were doing things that were wrong. And so that's, with that being said, I'd like to wish you a very, very beautiful, beautiful Saturday. I'm going to be hanging out with you a little later. Just hanging out, and we're just going to sing a little bit and maybe talk a little bit and share some more testimonies and things that's been happening in my life. And get a chance to be with you during the lockdown. I'll be out around 8 tonight. And for those of you who'd like to hear more, know more, and see more about me, Monty, who is this guy? And who does he think he is anyway? Log on to montecagle.com to get a little more specific things about what I stand for and what I like to do. And there also you can get my book. I've written a pretty thorough book on racism. There is a cure to racism. I put it in medical terms. Racism and the cure. This is not hydroxychloroquine, but this is a vaccine that you could take from the evil disease of racism. And get my book at montecagle.com. Right now it's an ebook fashion. And you drop me a little donation and you can get the ebook right there at montecagle.com. Racism and the cure. There is a cure to racism. And it's a thorough study of my travels worldwide. And I've seen racism in every shape and form possible. But I've seen solutions to it. And it's a very interesting book, my life story in black and white. So get it there at Racism and the Cure at montecagle.com. And also you can pick up some of our other products at montecagle.com. And there will be up a lot more and more and more as time goes on. And if you'd like to hear some of the classes and things that that I share about the Bible, You can get it also at the Monte Cagle YouTube channel. Check it out right there. So I hope you have a beautiful Saturday, and I'll probably see you tonight. We're going to make a little more music and share some more testimonies and things. Have a beautiful Saturday, and remember, keep looking up and not down.